Hi, I'm Jenny Taylor Merton, a director here at Edgar Cayce's ARE. Today I'm interviewing researcher Adrian Gilbert. He's also the author of The Secrets of the Stone of Destiny. Hi, Adrian. It's nice to have you with us today.
Well, it's great to be here.
Adrian, what exactly is the Stone of Destiny?
Right, now, the Stone of Destiny is a big block of sandstone, about that big, which sits under the throne, the coronation seat, that all our kings and queens have been crowned on since 1296. And it's called the Stone of Destiny because it's supposed to be that only the right person can be crowned, and the stone will scream out when the right person is there. And it's got tremendous amount of history and legend and prophecy connected with it. So it's kind of, if you think of it as the foundation stone of Great Britain.
What made you want to write about it?
Well, you know, a long time ago when I was in Israel, way back in, I think it was 1972, and I got talking with an old chap there who was a Bible scholar, and we were talking about Israel and we were talking about King David's throne, and he told me that this stone existed, that my own queen had been crowned on it. I hadn't heard of it, I didn't know anything about it. And so when I got back to London, I decided it was high time I went and had a look. So I went to Westminster Abbey, and sure enough, there was this throne with this stone stuck in it. And I got a little brochure about it, and that kind of sparked my interest. And I sort of had that sort of running around in the back of my mind for around 30 years before eventually I started making a big research into it, and I found some astounding things.
Your book goes into that in great detail. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, well, people think it's just a myth that this stone is called Jacob's Pillar Stone and supposedly came from the Middle East. But I've researched into the history. First of all, there are legends in Ireland and in Scotland where they've recorded what they believe to be the truth about the stone. And then I've used that and I've researched into the actual history of the Middle East around about the period between 700 and 500 BC. And I found that what they were talking about in these legendary histories of Ireland and Scotland dovetails with what people like Herodotus and so on were saying about the history of the Middle East with the Assyrian Empire and the Babylonian Empire and the Egyptian Empire. When you put the two things together, you really begin to get a pattern emerging, which tells us, yeah, that this was an important object, and we can find out exactly how it was that it was brought to Britain, which curiously ties in with the Edgar Cayce readings as well.
How does it tie in with the Edgar Cayce readings?
Well, Edgar Cayce, obviously as an Englishman, I'm very interested to hear what he has to say about England, and actually there's very little. But what he did talk about was a group of Jewish princesses at the time of the breakup of Israel and Judah, as he talks about, which would be that period in the 7th, 6th century BC. And he talks about how these daughters of King Hezekiah of Judah came to Britain and went to a place with stones near Salisbury, which must be Stonehenge, and they did some kind of ritual there for the true living God. So this kind of dovetailed in with legends of migrations that we have in England, particularly connected with people called the Tuatha De Danann, which can be translated as tribe of Dan. And of course the Danites, the tribe of Dan, lived on the coast in Israel. And you can imagine when the Assyrians and then the Babylonians invaded, what would you do if you lived on the coast? You'd get in your boats, wouldn't you? You wouldn't hang around to be turned into a slave. So it makes sense that maybe they were the people that brought these princesses to Britain around that time that Edgar Cayce is talking about. So it kind of, again, it dovetails the mythology with the Cayce readings and with the known history of that period.
Why does it matter what happens to the stone?
Well, the stone itself, it's called Leophile in Irish and Stone of Destiny in English. And curiously, when you have objects like this, what happens to them kind of mirrors what happens to the nation. It's a bit like if someone stole your Declaration of Independence and your Bill of Rights. You'd worry because you feel that those are kind of like the foundation documents of your nation. And for us, the Stone of Destiny, it signifies a contract between the monarchy and God. The Queen, when she's sitting on that stone, she has to actually take an oath with her hand on the Bible that she's going to serve the country and she's going to serve God. And the stone is meant to witness it. And this was an ancient custom that people would use stones as witnesses for important things that they were doing. So every time they look at that stone then, it reminds them, oh dear, yeah, I made that promise, didn't I? I better stick to it. So, and it reminds everybody else as well. So when you take that out, and then you send it off up to Scotland and put it in Edinburgh Castle in a glass case and treat it like just a museum piece, it's disempowering. And it's strange but true that somehow what's happened to the stone is now being mirrored with Britain itself. For the first time, when I was a boy, it was unthinkable that anyone would think that Scotland might separate from England. And yet it's looking more and more likely. We're looking at the fracturing of the United Kingdom for no good reason, really. So it does sort of mirror what happens to the stone is mirrored in what happens in life, as it were. So it does matter, in my opinion, anyway.
What do you predict will be the stone's destiny?
Well, this is a big question that I know other people who are very into the stone as well. And they believe that the stone may well be moved before too long and move out of Britain altogether. In which case, where would it go? One possible location might be Canada. Another one might be Australia or New Zealand. There'd have to be somewhere that still has a monarchy, because it's a royal stone. It's not just any old stone. So if the Queen is not Queen of the place, then they're not going to take it there. But it's quite possible that the monarchy might move again, as it has moved before. So that's something to think about, I think.
The book is so interesting, and it's been such a pleasure talking with you, Adrian. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Secrets of the Stone of Destiny, Legend, History, and Prophecy is published by Fourth Dimension Press, an imprint of ARE Press, and is available at arecatalog.com.